Hi viewers, welcome back to Sahara TV. My name is Adiola Fayon. So this is our Inspire segment where we like to interview someone that we think they've been doing something that is inspiring, something out of the ordinary, something extraordinary that we would like to bring to your attention. And today the person that I'll be interviewing for this segment his name is Bemigho Awala. He's a filmmaker, a graduate of Unilag. He's also the director of 316 Media in Lagos. Mr. Bemigho Awala, welcome to Sahara TV.
Thank you very much, Adiola.
Great. So in case you guys are yet to be familiar with his works, he's a photographer as well. We're going to play just a little bit of his latest film that he just put on YouTube, and it's called Hustle on the Mile. So viewers, that was just a sneak peek of his latest film on YouTube. You can go and watch that after we're done with this interview. Once again, it's called Hustle on the Mile. So Bemigho, let's start from, the last thing that we just saw. You said that in the beginning, God created man and then hustle. I mean, what was that about? What brought about that idea of going after hustlers in Lagos?
Well, the truth is that, like you're watching the documentary, Lagos is a throbbing city. There's a lot of energy in Lagos. You find out that when you hear foreigners, especially coming to Lagos, one key thing to take away is the fact that this city has got a lot of energy. And young people from all over the country come to Lagos, especially for NYS, and they tell you that, man, Lagos is the real hustler's dream. And like they say, I mean, if you can make it in Lagos, you can make it anywhere in the world. So for us, it was to think about that, that throb, that energy, the verve that you find in Lagos that you probably not find anywhere else in the world. That was what really caught our attention. And we thought it would be nice to, look at all of the energy that Lagos carries from a different tangent. So that was part of what spurred us into doing this documentary.
So you sound like you were born and raised in Lagos. Are you a Lagosian?
Well, I'm sure you're aware of the politics of indigenization, where they say, okay, where your father is from is where you claim. I mean, I tell people that I was born, bred, raised in Lagos, and I intend to contest for elections in Lagos.
Oh, wow.
So I consider myself a proper Lagos boy. So I spent over 3 decades in Lagos. Know every nook and cranny of Lagos. So tell me why don't I deserve to be called a Lagosian? So I'm a Lagos boy too.
That's good. So we have a Lagos boy in the house.
That's right.
So let me just ask you, is this going to be like a series now? Because in this film, you focused on the tomato sellers. Is this going to be like a series? Are you going to make other films focusing on other aspects of hustling in Lagos?
Well, initially, we just thought that it would be nice to go to an environment, try to capture the energy in the ambience and then see, what potential stories that we could tell. But the kind of vibes we've been getting in the last 3-4 days, since the video went up on YouTube, is spurring us in a new direction. I think like I put in one of the comments on Sahara Reporters, I said it would be nice for us to capture I think you want to capture very honest hustlers, people who have a honest hustle. But I get challenge anybody if you think, you think you're a Yahoo boy and you think that your hustle is also worth documenting, I mean, give us a shot. We'll be on your door to capture your hustle. The idea is to capture and preserve, to show how people are striving to make a honest living, irrespective of whatever cadre of society, that they fall into. But I do hope that we should be able to follow up and get into other spaces and tell very interesting stories. It's about the personas. Do you understand? It's about people. and it's about telling their story in such a way that helps, make living better for the whole of humanity. So, I mean, who knows? We probably might make it a series of documentaries,
Yeah, I see. So how long did it, like, from beginning to the end, how much time did you guys spend to create this film?
Well, the documentary took us about a month.
Wow. Just to shoot,
Yeah,
or to shoot and edit and produce everything?
to shoot, edit, and produce took us about a month. We had to recce the place, meet with people, talk to, because, I mean, shooting in Lagos can be pretty challenging, just like shooting anywhere in the world, So we have to recce the place, talk to the right people, to be sure that we won't be hijacked or hacked with our cameras. People in these lines of time have certain phobias for the cameras, so we need to be sure that no one's going to get offended with what we're trying to do, the kind of stories we're trying to tell.
I see.
So it took us about a month to recce, shoot, and edit.
I see. So what's your goal, in going after stories like this? What do you guys hope to achieve by doing these kinds of films?
I think, over the top of my head, firstly, we want lives to get changed. For me, the ultimate value derivative from this documentary is if in 5 years' time, I see Sonny leave the university as a proud graduate, and who knows, he becomes the governor of Kano State in 10 years down the line. I mean, for me, that would be a very awesome story. So first off, I would like to see changed lives, because I believe, and my friends also with whom we did this documentary together believe that storytelling, visual storytelling should be a tool for changing lives. We should be able to make society and humanity a better place, by telling stories. So that for me would be the key thing, something that would gladden my heart, which is why we've gone after stories like this.
So you made this film hoping that when people, the people in this film, that they would have a changed life, or that Nigerians in general, that people wouldn't have to hustle as much to make it in life. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, we're trying to say, look, the video is purely aspirational, all right? We want people to aspire to work a honest hustle and make something meaningful out of their lives. That's the essence.
I see.
Work a honest hustle and make something meaningful out of your life. If we can all aspire to a honest hustle and make something meaningful, I think that society will really be a better place.
So let's talk a little bit about Sonny. That's the tomato guy that you featured in the film. He was very good. He was very articulate, and you said he didn't go to university. Have you been back since you made that film to check back on him? Is he still selling some tomatoes, or did he go back to school? Or maybe I should ask first of all, that how long ago did you guys make the movie?
We made it early this year.
Oh, okay.
Very early this year. Yes, it's very fresh. So we made it very early this year. Interestingly, the story about Sonny is, I'm sure you've heard about most El-Rufai's book titled Accidental Public Servants. Mm-hmm. I think Sonny is actually an accidental bystander. The original guy, when we went from Recce, the original guy that we had wanted to feature, whose story we thought would resonate, because we went out with a profile that we were trying to look at, and we spoke to one or two people within the market. And, the guy we had spoken to before then, suddenly on the day of the shoot did not turn up. For about 2 hours, we're trying to find him. We didn't get him. And so at that point, we said, look, guys, the story must go on. The shoot must go on. We booked cameras and everything. And man, we won't waste all our money. So this is what we do. We get into the space, tell our stories. If it meant that all we'll do that day was to capture the energy of the place and tell a story from there, for me, that was just going to be perfect. And so we, at that point when we didn't find the character that we had already spoken to, we went into the market. The guy, one of the local guys who was helping us to recce, I really thought that we could speak with him, but then he just didn't cut it, And so while we were just shooting around, trying to take visual stories, of the Mile 12, we just heard this guy speaking to someone else. And we're like, wow. Bayo, who is a photographer, who was actually the guy who we actually wanted to document, while he was shooting the Mile 12 market, Barry just said, Baby G, come, let's talk to this guy. And I said, okay, fine.
Yeah, that's a good decision, a good choice.
Yeah, and that's how we accidentally stumbled upon Sonny. And for me, it was very interesting listening to him speak English, because we all have certain stereotypes in our head, that certain classes or certain tribes of people cannot speak, certain languages, but I mean, really, for his education, I think he sounded very well.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, though, that you would, maybe check on him at some point later in the future, because we like to know if he ended up going back to school like he said he wanted to.
Oh, definitely. We actually, he has a phone. The first guy we had didn't have a phone, so that was probably part of why it was difficult trying to track it. We call Sonny from time to time because we assured him that, look, for me, the key thing would be to see him, become a better person. And so I do honestly believe there'll be someone out there who will say, look, man, I want to sponsor Sonny to school. Sonny, we want you to leave, this business and go back to school. And the truth is, if we're able to make him see reason that, he has a very good chance of making it better in life by going to school, I'm sure he's going to jump at it. And like I said in the final part of the documentary, he really wants to go to school so as to be able to teach and, help the other guys in the space become better people. And I think that's just absolutely fantastic.
So let me just ask you briefly, has anyone, a lot of people like to say that a film like this is showing the bad side of Nigeria, showing people hustling. It's not showing the pretty faces, the pretty places in Lagos, in Nigeria. Has anyone ever, accused you of showing the bad side of Nigeria? And how do you respond to something like that?
All right. Actually, someone had on the YouTube post, someone had accused us of trying to do a Welcome to Lagos Part 2. And I said, no, this is not Welcome to Lagos Part 2, because though the scenarios look alike, the motives and the messaging are fundamentally different, all right? The motives and the messaging are fundamentally different. What we've tried to do here is to show multi-tribalism, entrepreneurship, urban rural migration, sociology, negotiation skills. I mean, I think that all of that came through in the documentary that you'll probably not find in some of the other, visuals of Lagos and the hustle and the bustle. So for us, this is a whole documentary and not a propaganda documentary, just to say, okay, these guys are not doing anything.
Okay.
So I think that that's what we actually set out to do.
Okay, so it's not like you're painting Nigeria bad. You're just, telling it like it is. Let me ask you this question quickly because we're running out of time. I know you graduated from Unilag, and recently the president changed the name of Unilag to Maulag, and I'm just wondering your reaction to that. How did you react when you heard about it?
Well, like everyone, I was. The umbrage was very clear. Why do you try to rubbish an age-old institution just because you want to appeal a certain section of the people? And that for me shows that we do not have respect for institutions. The institutional mentality is missing. What we have is a personality-driven mentality. And so you find people are largely personality-driven. Oh, it's MK Abiola, as opposed to the institutions, the values that institutions should drive, should stand for. So I felt really very bad. And together with all the various alumni, there were a series of meetings. And I think that the matter is subject of litigation right now. And I think to that extent, it would not be very fair in public space to speak on a matter that is currently being adjudicated upon. But I'm sure that from the feedbacks that we got, even on your channel, I'm sure that you clearly know what our feelings are, what the perspectives are. It was something that was wrongly done, not because Abiola did not deserve the honor, but because we think that there are better ways to honor Chief MK Abiola than named in the University of Lagos after him.
I see.
So that's my personal take.
All right, but I'm also wondering because I know that when you were in Unilag, you were the president of the association, the president of Faculty of Arts Students Association. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
PASA 2003-2004 session.
Oh, okay. And there was like a little fiasco when you were in school at the time. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, for me, that would remain, an indelible scenario in my life because you're just thrust into the middle of an inferno, and you just had to, rise and game. And I mean, backstory to that issue was the night before, the Speaker of the House of Reps, late Lago Akoshile, my very good friend, we had spoken at around 11 p.m. and said we're going to convene the Congress of University of Lagos students the following day. And I woke up 5 a.m. and I heard that Lauli was dead. I mean, I was gutted. I was shocked. And at that point, the school was on fire. Students had touched various buildings. And, at around 7 a.m., we gathered all the students together. And I had the rare privilege of addressing the students that morning. And I said, guys, look, let's take things easy. We may have lost our leader, but we should not lose our heads. And my coming out to make those declarations that morning, was not taken very well by some people. And so they felt that, some of us who were leaders at that point had actually instigated the students, to carry out such atrocities. And from there, we were declared wanted. The state, began to hunt us, arrested us, incarcerated us. I mean, I was incarcerated for about 3 weeks in very dehumanizing conditions, but thank God for Chief Gadifar in your blessed memory. We'll forever be indebted to that great Nigerian who, took on our case pro bono and went to court. And thankfully, and by God's help, it was a no case. The state had, the state said we were not culpable. And the DPP's, that's the Director of Public Prosecutions, case was a no case. And so there was nothing until the case was thrown out, and we all went back to school. And today we're all graduates. We're all doing fantastically well in all our various vocations. So for me, yep.
Go ahead, finish that.
Yeah, so for me, I think that it was a very enriching experience. I saw life, from a different mode, and it's one that I'll forever be grateful for that I went through that experience.
So I'm really sorry that happened, but at the same time, you just said that you're glad that you went through it because it had an impact in you. As a filmmaker, film director, is there something that you think you would put in film someday? Because it's not just you. This has happened to so many students in Nigeria. And do you think that you would like to tell this story someday for the whole world to know some of the things that happened?
Yes, I think that's a story that the world will hear. Like Ogunde once said, a story that must be told forgives no silence. So I think that this is a story that must be told, probably within the larger context of student activism and the way forward, because right now student activism in Nigeria is at its lowest ebb. I do not really see that drive, that was there years ago. And so within that context of student activism and what it should look like, I think that's a story that must be told with forgiveness no silence. So I'm sure that we will definitely look into it in the future.
And now you are the director of 316 Media. What is 316 Media?
Well, 316 Media is just a collective. We are young filmmakers. I just happen to be one of the directors. My brother Jolami, friends like Bayo, Balaji, with a lot of friends we collaborate with. So I'm sure it's a collective. I'm sure, like you see on the credits, it's collective participation of people. So essentially at 316, we say that, look, we want to tell stories, that would make the world a better place. We want to tell stories that would inspire hope. Want to tell stories.
Do you guys have a website or like a place where people can, do you guys have a website?
Well, we took down our website sometime last year.
Okay.
because we thought that it wasn't up to scratch. We thought that we needed to do something that would befit the kind of project we were doing. I think that in 2 weeks' time, the website would be back up and running.
Okay. And it would be
up and running.
And it would be 316media.com. Is that what it would be?
.ng, yeah. 316media.com.ng.
316media.com.ng. So that's how people can see more of your works. Okay, so we've come to the end of this interview. And, as someone that has fought for justice before when you were at Unilag, I mean, I'm just wondering, if that's something you hope to continue. I wouldn't say that being an activist or, just for Nigeria. Is that something you hope to continue, for seeking for justice, true justice in Nigeria, not just among students?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, this project was born out of activism. The couple of friends I've been blessed with, it was born out of activism, whether, activism that speaks to wanting to make Nigeria a better place. There's a lot of injustice in the land. There's no reason why Sonny shouldn't be in university.
Did you say that you're going to be in politics someday? You said you wanted to run for something in Lagos?
Yeah. I'm hoping that we'll be, because the truth is, and I found that way in Unilag. Unilag, I was an activist, but I said, look, hey, we need to move from being activists to really occupying, places of position, which is what made me become the president. I wasn't content with just sitting and saying, no, things must change. No, you have to get into the saddle and make things work. All right, and I was happy with, with the learning curve that it brought us. I mean, for us, that era was epoch and it was glorious. And I hope that the students in Unilag, right, there's no union there. I hope that they'll be able to watch this and also aspire that, look, we should be able to come together and make peaceful changes, possible.
Well, Bemigho, thank you so much for coming on our show. And, we're looking forward to your next film. That's something is coming up soon, right?
Yeah, hopefully we'll hit the road again and get something for Nigerians to see.
Right.
And hopefully we'll be able to tell exciting stories that that people will not accuse us of showing the ugly side of Lagos.
All right. So thank you very much for coming on our show. Thank you.
Pleasure's mine, Diola. Thank you.
Yeah. So viewers, that has been Bemigho Awala, and he's the director of the film that we're showing you. It's called Hustle on a Mile. You can check that out on YouTube as well. And that has been our Inspire segment. Stay tuned. We have more to come. We have our regulars, Dr. Damages, as well as Keeping It Real with Adiola. We'll be right back.
If you're not informed,
If you don't know where you come from, you will never find where you're going.
When Nigeria is working, we will all know.
PDP and us are diametrically opposed.
oh yeah, Sahara TV, let them be the TV, the best TV, information, education, inspiration. Sahara TV,
I am from Sahara TV. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
information, education, inspiration.